When I was younger, my flexibility felt like a superpower. I could twist, bend, stretch in ways that other athletes couldn't. On a wrestling mat, it made me a nightmare to pin. In karate, I could throw head height kicks with ease. And in jiu-jitsu, I could slip out of holds other people couldn't. And for a while, it was a gift. This is chapter 4 of the Hypermobility Guide for He, Him, and Them, and we're going to talk about the hidden costs of that so-called gift. Short-term wins. When you're young, hypermobility can give you an edge. You recover quickly, or think you do. You avoid injuries that stop others, and you get labeled as naturally talented. But what you don't see is what's happening underneath. Ligaments stretching past their limits, micro tears in tendons, and joints that are slowly destabilizing. The shoulder case study. Let me give you an example. My shoulders. During training in wrestling, karate, and jiu-jitsu, throughout my life, from about middle school in 7th grade onward through about 28 years old when I left the Marine Corps. During training, they dislocated more times than I can count. I learned how to pop them back in quietly without making a fuss. And it got to the point where they were so loose that they would pop out as I would hang down at a dead hang to do pull-ups. And I learned that I needed to pop my shoulders in and brace, and then I could knock out 5 or 6. I'd go to a dead hang. My shoulders would dislocate. I would rest, stretch, like that. Then pop everything back in. We go for another 5. Okay? You do that 4 times, you max out your PFT. At least, I guess you gotta do it 5 times now. I'm old. But every time I did that, I damaged them more. And eventually they will need reconstructive surgery. And that's the cycle. It's short-term performance, long-term breakdown. And let's be honest, culturally, we reward this. In sports, you play through it. In the military, you ignore it, or you take Motrin. And in masculinity, you prove yourself by being tough. Hypermobile bodies can pass for invincible right up until they break, especially because most of us have a much higher pain tolerance than other people. What I know now is that flexibility without stability is a liability. Being able to do something doesn't mean you should, and pain isn't weakness, it's a warning. We need to reframe the conversation. Stop calling it a party trick. Start calling it a symptom. Stop admiring overextension and start recognizing risk. Reflection prompt. Here's your reflection prompt for this video. Have you ever been praised for doing something physically extreme even though it hurt? What would it look like to honor your body's boundaries instead of performing past them? You're not here to impress anyone. You're here to last. And that starts with respecting the hidden cost of the gifts we're given.